Okay, today I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to use stencils with Encaustic. And if you've ever done stencils with Encaustic before and you've run into problems with the paint leaking underneath, or when you go to fuse, you get like a blurry finish, why I think these tips will really help you out. Okay, I've got some Encaustic paint on here already, and one thing you want to make sure is that you've got a nice warm but not too hot surface, because you want that Encaustic adhesive quality to really work in your favor this time. You want the stencil to be able to actually kind of stick to the surface, which will allow a nice clean tight seal, and it will keep paint from running underneath the stencil. So if you need to warm it up, either use fuse it again, or you can add a layer of clear encaustic medium over the top, which is what I'm going to do here. Just give it a nice clear coat, and this will give the stencil something to grab onto once it's fused. So we'll give it a quick fuse. I've got the heat gun on high, and you can tell when it turns shiny, then it's fused. No need to linger in any one area. Okay, so with a nice warm sticky surface, we'll put down the stencil. This is my Curvy Ladders stencil that I designed a couple years ago, and I want it to really stick to that surface. And to make sure that it does, take a little wax paper and a brayer, and I'm not pressing real hard, but I am just adhering it to the surface of that wax, making sure that it doesn't slip around on me when I go to paint. Okay, so with the stencil in place, now I am going to melt my wax on the surface. This is what encaustic painting is all about, painting with melted wax. And notice how runny it is, so it really would have a tendency to seep underneath the stencil if you don't have a nice tight seal. So we'll go over it. I'm not going to use the whole design, but you'll get the idea here. Okay, and then we'll just let that cool. You can tell it's cool when the shininess is gone. And now I'll just pick it up, and you'll have a nice clean image. Okay, that's great for starters. And of course, if there's any areas that you don't like, you can scrape those off with a blade. Okay, we're not going to worry about that right now with this demonstration, but it's so forgiving. Whatever you don't like, you can just remove it that way. Okay, so the second problem that encaustic and stencils sometimes presents is when you go to fuse. Fusing, again, like I did earlier, is heating it, and when you heat wax, it has a tendency to run and blur all over the place. So there's this little attachment that you can put on your heat gun, and it keeps the blowing part of the heat gun more controlled. And then remember that these heat guns, at least these heat guns, have a low and high setting. And for the fusing that I did earlier, I put it on high, but when I'm going to fuse a stencil, I want to put it on low with this attachment, and you'll see how well it works at retaining the clean lines. And again, I'm just going lightly, just until it's shiny. I don't want to overfuse, or these little designs are going to go swimming. There you go. And it does run together just a little bit, maybe because my surface is hot. Let's try it again. Make it stick. We'll apply the paint. And even as lightly as I was fusing, it still wants to run. Let's try that again. I'll take the stencil off. Remove a couple of little ditzels here that I don't want to fuse. I don't want those permanently on my piece. And I'm low with this attachment, and let's just go real quickly here. There we go. A much better fuse. Thanks for watching.